So, welcome back to New York's Business Podcast. My name is Jacob Restituto, and thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
So, one of these was supposed to be decaf because I switched to decaf. I don't know which one, so it's Russian roulette at this
I
point.
think it's that one right there.
You can tell from the smell?
No. I'm just trying to make you feel comfortable. Oh, perfect.
That's good stuff, man. Well, cheers.
Cheers. We're here for now.
So, welcome back to New York's Business Podcast. We are here at King Umberto's in Elmont, one of the staple pizzerias in New York, one of the most well-known pizzerias in New York. Which, at that point, New York being one of the pizza capitals of the world, you could also imply that it's one of the best pizza places in the world. So I appreciate you taking the time. For people that aren't super familiar with you and your story, can you introduce yourself and tell your story of how you got into business, what you do here, and everything like that?
So my name is Giovanni Cesarano. I'm one of the co-owners and operators of King Umberto's, as you said before. I am a second generation owner here. My father originally got started here as a pizza man in the 80s. And then in the early 90s, he had the opportunity to actually invest in the business as it was expanding and growing. And then first job here as a kid was co-check. Busboy, worked my way up the ranks just as anyone should. They didn't show favoritism towards me, which I appreciate now more than ever. Sometimes I asked for weekends off and I didn't get them. So it wasn't like, oh, just because he's the boss's son, he was favorited. It was never like that. And looking back at it now, I appreciate that more than ever. So basically, me and my brother got involved in the business side of things in 2012, 2013. As my father was getting older, he was getting ready to retire, and he asked us if this was something that we would seriously consider doing for the rest of our lives. And I remember one of the things that stood out to me the most, what he said to us, is if you're ever going to do anything in life, make sure you give it 100%. And he added to that, he said, not only just as a business person, but if you ever become a husband, if you ever become a father, if you're ever someone's best friend, just make sure whatever you do, you give 100%. So after giving it some consideration, for me and my brother, it was a no-brainer because I feel like this is it's in our blood. We've tried to do other avenues. We've worked in other businesses before, and we always came back to this. We also look at it from a perspective as we don't take this for granted. We're very grateful for this opportunity, and a lot of times you hear horror stories about how the next generation takes over the business and they ruin it, because they just coast. They do whatever the previous generation did, whatever their fathers or their grandfathers established, and they think that they can live a comfortable life. And the next thing you know, it's a very slippery slope. Me and my brother have always taken the approach as, how can we make this better? My father came to this country with no money. He didn't speak the language. I don't think he graduated high school, and he was able to, build so much for us. So if my dad can do it with so many disadvantages, me and my brother should be able to do it with so many advantages.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on something you said right there that I found really interesting. Is you said that a lot of generational businesses fail when the business is passed down from generation to generation because they kind of just want to piggyback on what the previous generation was doing. But if you really look at what the previous generation was doing, the only reason they were successful is they were innovating and they were successful in their time. But that time has passed, and if you continue to try to do that thing, you're working in an old world. It doesn't work. To some degree, it's almost like being a taxi driver in the world of Ubers. Like, it just doesn't work, right? As opposed to like what you're saying, and from what I know from you, you're constantly trying to innovate and make it better. Like you said, like, okay, how do we take what they have, but also bring it into this now new world, right? A world of social media that wasn't even a thought back when you know what I'm saying? So bringing that into this new world. So that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, it's really all about making adjustments. The food industry, I don't want to compare it to just fashion, but fashion is constantly changing, where it's very similar to fashion because I think a black tuxedo will never go out of style. So a regular slice will never go out of style. But then you have different trends. You have streetwear, you have urban wear that comes into the picture. And if your business only makes tuxedos and doesn't learn how to adjust to the new trends or styles that are coming out, then you might have a difficult time with the new climate of the environment that your business is in. So it's very important to make sure that whatever the previous generation did, you continue to maintain those standards but also add to them. So, for example, for the longest time, we were known for the grandma pie and the fried capellini, grandma pie, fried capellini. And then we noticed that the industry was starting to change. People were becoming more educated about the product, and they knew different styles of pizza that were being created all over the world, not just in New York. So we realized that maybe we can capitalize off of some of these and introduce them here. So that's when we started to introduce gluten-free pizza, Roman-style pizza, different plates in the kitchen, different dishes in the kitchen, the bomboloni, the donuts, and we are constantly always looking to make. We don't look at it as the approach as like, we're having success with this, let's just stay with this. We're always looking at it from an approach of like, okay, what's next? We've established this, now what's next? So we don't want to say we're trendsetters, because a lot of the dishes and the plates that we make here are being made all over the world, absolutely. But we definitely are the ones that kind of introduce them and bring them to the light in a different aspect, in a place that you wouldn't necessarily think, like, you think King Umberto's, you think grandma pizza, fried capellini. Then all of a sudden you see this Pizza Metro come to the table and they're shaving Parmigiano. It's like, wow, I didn't even know you guys did that. It's like, yeah, we also do that as well.
So one of the things I really like about your story, we've talked a bit, so I know a bit about your story, is the fact that you're always trying to learn new things and you're always trying to make yourself better. And then that transfers into the work that you do. And hearing the story of that Pizza Metro, how you you met the guy that did it in the city, right? And he learned essentially, what was the story? Tell me, refresh my memory.
It kind of happened on accident.
On accident.
It was a mistake. I was at a class in New York City. I was studying with.
But that was my point right there, that you were at the class. You know what I'm saying? Always trying to. Then this is where it came from. But you're always trying to learn. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. Listen, a lot of places what they do is like you go to another pizzeria, you see a style of pizza, and then you try to make it. Like you just basically copy and paste, which is cool. If that's what you want to do. I prefer to actually, if I see something that I want to learn, not only just the Pizza Metro, the bomboloni, I want to work with someone who knows what they were doing. Whether if I have to go there 2 weeks for free, a month for free, take time out of my day off to go learn, I want to do things the right way. As to my father's point, where like if you're going to do something,
do it 100%.
Do it right. So I was in the city taking this class, and basically I was looking to, at the time we were looking to introduce brick oven pizza here, Neapolitan style pizza, like my hometown in Naples, how they make it. It never really happened, but I took the class, I just wanted to learn. I learned so many other things being there. This guy walks into this class. It's an open format class, so you can walk in and ask questions like, what are you teaching today? Can I sign up can I register for this class, and so on and so forth. So a guy came in and he said to the guy who's teaching the class, this guy Roberto Caporuscio, he says, I want to make a big pizza, big round pizza. So Roberto Caporuscio suggested that, and he's like, why don't you do Pizza Metro, which is pizza by the meter, as they sell in Italy.
Oh, I never put two and two together.
Yeah, so the guy's like, no, I want to make a big round one. Like he wanted to do something gimmicky, and the teacher was trying to say, don't do gimmicks, do the real stuff, be authentic, And he really wanted to do it round, so he's like, okay, come back in a couple days, let me figure out how to make this dough, and you come back. And the guy came back, and sure enough, we made this huge pizza. We got like a piece of plywood to put it in the oven. But that got the wheels turning for me. And then I asked him, what's Pizza Metro? And he explained to me what Pizza Metro was. And then I touched my father, who actually grew up in Naples. He's from Napoli. He said, yeah, there's a guy who's very famous from where we're from in Italy that does Pizza Metro. And, one thing led to another. And then we started messing around with dough formulas. And I would call people at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning who were in Italy. That was 10 o'clock in the morning, trying to get ideas on how to make the dough and so on and so forth. And through a lot of trial and error, a lot of failure, we created this product, which eventually, became successful.
Yeah. One of the things that, from watching your business and seeing how your business works and how you care about your business, one of the things I think is really interesting is how much attention to detail you put into all the little details of, for example, even just making a dough. People could say, oh, it's just a pizza, how hard could it be? But like you care about all the ingredients, the flours, the ratio of flour to water, and you want it to be the best dough that it could be, to then add the best sauce that it can be, to add the best cheese that it can, and we were just having a conversation actually earlier before we started filming, that it's all the small little steps that add to the actual big picture of the
big details.
It's the little brush strokes on the painting that add to the full beautiful painting.
Pizza's not easy.
Yeah, but I agree. You could very easily make a bad pizza, but people don't think that way. They just think, oh,
Absolutely.
how hard could this be, or how hard could this business venture be? and then they make a subpar product. How hard could it make a bomboloni? You know what I'm saying? And they just see it on the plate superior, and like, oh, let's just add it. Let me watch a YouTube video. They don't actually take the time to learn.
Yeah.
Or do the attention to detail. They skip steps because they think, oh, it's too expensive to do it that way. And then it comes out subpar, and you ends up costing you more money because you wasted your time and your effort and your product, you know. And
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what to add to that other than the fact that, like, if you want to be successful, you have to pay attention to the little things that other people don't pay attention to. You have to, if you want to, that's
what would be an example of that for you?
Calibrating your pizza ovens once a year, making sure that they're up to par with the temperature. You can use the best flour in the world, you can use the best tomatoes in the world, you can use the best cheese in the world. If your pizza's not cooking right, it's going to come out like garbage. The oven is just as important an ingredient. It's the most underrated ingredient when it comes to making pizza, is cooking a pizza at the right temperature, not over baking it, not under baking it. I think that's just as important as the flour that you use.
That's really interesting. I want to piggyback on kind of one of the things you were talking about earlier with like trying to always advancing the business, but trying new things and kind of seeing what's popular. We talked about fashion really quickly with like the classic tux, but also like the urban streetwear that's constantly changing. How do you find, and with social media coming out and being popular in like trends and stuff that are on Instagram and stuff, how do you find the balance of like doing things that are like actually worth your time, but also versus gimmicky? Like some things can be really cool to like, oh, this is a cool trend, but then how do you follow a trend or even try to start a trend, right, without it looking gimmicky at the same time? What's the balance for that for you?
Sometimes you just got to try it. We fall victim of that too sometimes over here, where like you see something that you think might work. Every place has its own identity. Every place has its own culture. So, for the longest time, we saw a lot of pizzerias in Manhattan having success with sandwiches. And my ego was telling me, like, that's their thing. Don't do it. Don't do it. But then we just started, like, messing around, making breads. And one thing led to another. And we, now sandwiches are very popular. On Wednesdays, we sell whatever, chicken-colored vodka burratas. And very successful now with the sandwiches. That might not work at your place, for whatever reason. They might not have worked at our place. Other things that we've tried that weren't as successful, I don't know. We tried making gelato, and it didn't work out.
Just because there was no customer base for it, or it just didn't work out?
We're not set up for it. We didn't have the right equipment, nor we we're not ready for it. Eventually, in the future, we might reintroduce it when the time is right. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. When things happen generically, that's the best.
Organically?
Organically.
Yeah.
Generically. Is that a word?
It is a word, but I think it's the wrong. No.
What is it?
Generic is like broad.
Oh, okay. When things happen
organically. Yeah, like naturally.
Naturally. That's the best. That's when we've had the most success.
Yeah.
When you try to copy somebody else and do it, it usually,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel genuine. You don't feel like you care about it as much. When it's your idea, when it's your thing, that's when you put all the effort into it and really try to like push the product,
So let's talk marketing. Business has been around for what, like how many years at this point? 70 years?
48.
Oh,
This
okay.
place.
This place, yeah.
Since 76.
Okay, that's where I got the 70s from, yeah. Okay, so it's been around since the 76.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's an established name in the neighborhood, but how do you continue to market that, like, and grow a broader customer base? Like, are you actively doing anything? What are some things that have worked, and what are some things that haven't worked?
That's a good question. The best form of advertisement, obviously, is word of mouth. So it starts with in-house, right here. Every customer that comes in, give them the best possible product, give them the best possible service. That never fails. Some of the stuff that's worked, like getting the word out. We've done a couple of like shows, I guess, restaurant shows, pizza shows. Recently, we did the Coney Island Pizza Festival for Dave Portnoy. And
do you find that things like that are worth your time?
Sometimes they are.
Not necessarily just that specific one, but like the shows and stuff.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The thing I don't like about the shows is that it's my day off, and then you have to like occupy your time doing work. And
Sure.
I don't really like to work on my days off. I'd rather like have a nice balance in my life.
Absolutely.
So usually when I have free time, it's not the first thing that I think of to go do like a restaurant show,
Sure.
or go to this, go to that, you know, to promote the product. And social media, we touched upon that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, hiring a social media team I think is important, but again, it has to fit. It's very easy to fall into the trap that like, oh, this video worked for so and so, now you got to do the same video.
Yeah.
No, but that's not what we are here. We're not those people. We don't have that type of personality here.
Yeah.
We are. I joke around with Mia a lot, and I'm like, Mia, this is not a TikTok pizzeria. This is a, you know, not that there's anything wrong with TikTok and the people that use TikTok as a platform. It's great.
It's
I'm
totally
sure we
different
can
vibe,
utilize
yeah.
it as well. But that's not what we're
Sure.
actually about here. You know,
Yeah.
it's not our personality,
Yeah.
so to speak. Not yet. Who knows? Maybe we hire different people, and a new generation of workers come in. It'll be a little bit different. But as of right now, you know, we like to. This is what we're making. This is how we're making it, and we
Yeah.
want you to come try it. It looks good.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think content does best on social media when it's authentic to you. You know, there's some strange niches of content out there, but like the people are doing well because people, like, it's authentic to them and people are watching it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like, there's always a niche, and what's, I think the content that's the quote unquote cringiest to watch is the one that like somebody's trying to be something that they're not,
I hate
and
it.
it just doesn't work. You can
I hate
feel
it.
it. It
Yeah.
just doesn't feel right. You know, I want to talk work environment. You know, we've been working together for a while, and or not that well actually. I take that back. We've been working together for a couple of months, but it feels like a while because
It feels like a year.
yeah, and it hasn't even been. It's been since March. You know.
Oh, okay,
So,
cool.
so what is that? That's 8 months.
Yeah.
7 months. And what's interesting about that is it feels like a longer time. I think because of the environment that you create in this the atmosphere that you create in the restaurant. And it's you know, I only see your guys once a month, you know, like typically, if that, you know, and I haven't been here in a couple of months, and it's kind of cool to see like, oh, there's another guy, Jacob, you know, his name is Jacob. Oh, how's it going, Jake? We just kind of banter back and forth, and
Yeah.
the phone girls, you know, we banter back, and it's fun, and
Yes.
it's a cool environment that you created. One
Yeah.
thing I want to piggyback, I mean, if you have anything to say about that, but one thing I want to piggyback on that is I was talking to one of the employees today, and they were saying that one of the things that you guys do here is all the employees are allowed to eat lunch for free every day.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting because I do a lot of video work in a lot of restaurants and all that stuff, and a lot of the places are like, oh, you get a discount on the food and stuff. And I found it pretty interesting that you guys, you know, allow free food, and I just want to hear your thought process. My assumption is it creates a better work environment, and that it increases retention because, like, you know, there's not as much. The better the work environment, the better, longer the people work there for.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was cool on how you rationalize the cost of that versus, you know, the cost of, you know what I'm saying? So just, I'd love to hear you just talk about that.
Me and my partner spend so much time here. We want to work with happy, positive people. It's the worst thing in the world when you show up to work and you got to deal with someone who's constantly complaining or constantly has a problem. It's our job to create that type of an environment so we get the most out of our employees. It starts with hiring them. You know, there's definitely, I know it's hard to find good employees nowadays, but there's definitely, when you conduct an interview, there's little things that you can pick up on whether or not this person's going to be a good fit. So if you're a good fit here,
What would you give an example? Like, what kind of things are you looking for in an interview?
we've asked people who come in here, it's like, hey, I was a pizza man at this pizzeria for 5 years. Okay, what happened? And they'll respond to be like, well, that's none of your business.
Sure, yeah.
Nice to meet you. Have a nice
Yeah,
day. Well, let me
exactly.
tell you, bro. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sorry. I know. Yeah. And there's other guys that come in here and be like, listen, there was no more room for growth. I was looking to get promoted, and unfortunately, it's a small shop. It's a mom and pop shop, and they can only afford to pay me so much. And it's like, that's the kind of guy I want. You know, he wants to make more money. He wants a better life, and this, that, and the third. Quality of life for our employees, we kind of prioritize that in the sense that we want them to be able to enjoy their life. And there's this cliche, there's this thing about the restaurant business, like if you work in a restaurant, you have to sacrifice your life. You know, that's, you know, you forget about having a social life, forget about having kids, forget about having a family. We want to debunk that and show to people that if you come work here, you could have a very good life. you can make a very good living,
Yeah.
and you can enjoy it at the same time. And while you're here working, it's not going to be like, I can't wait till my shift is over. It's going to be like, wow, I can't believe how fast the time went by.
Is there anything you're implementing inside of the actual work environment to create that kind of vibe?
You actually have to care about your employees.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny.
I don't
It's
look
the simple
at them.
things. It makes
So,
the simple
yeah.
ingredients makes a good pizza. The simple ingredients make a good work environment.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't
It's
look at
like-
my pizza man as just like, yo, you're working 12 hours today. Make sure you don't burn the pizza. Make sure this, that, that, you know. I don't look at him like, yeah, Stefano, like my main guy. You know, we start the day off with an espresso. We talk about soccer for, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's genuine.
Yeah.
It's people, again, that during the interview process, I can get along with this guy. I can have a conversation with this guy.
That's really
Talk
interesting.
about it. What'd you eat yesterday? Like, oh, my dad made this pasta, and he's like, yo, can you save me some? And I'll bring him leftovers. You know, it's the little things like that. Of course, when he doesn't, nobody's perfect. You have to have this balance where, like, you try to be the cool boss, but you also have to know, like, things need to get done the right way.
Sure.
So once you find that balance, and then everything else falls into place.
Sure.
So I guess it's finding the right employees and finding the right balance where you have to be nice, but not too nice.
Yeah. The hiring process is really interesting because it almost to some degree, like from the conversation, I would assume that you would probably take the guy that is qualified, but you get along with better than the guy that's more qualified, you know, but with a bad
100%.
personality.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't need prima donnas.
Yeah, but
prima donnas, you guys could.
And
If you're, my partner always says, like, if they were so good, they wouldn't have left their other guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, 100%.
That's a fair point. Man.
I'd rather work with someone who wants to learn and is hardworking and isn't as talented as the next guy.
Sure.
Plus, this pizzeria, this system, this pizza, this is not a pizzeria. We're different from other pizzerias. Every pizzeria is different. Every pizzeria has their own system. So I'd rather have someone who doesn't know a system, that's used to an old system, and then they
Very
have to learn a new system.
Yeah.
I'd rather train them fresh,
Yeah.
train them new.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting, man. What would you say the biggest opportunity in your business or in your industry is right now? And how would you go, like, what are you doing to capitalize on that?
Comfort foods never go out of style. Like pizza never goes out of style. Donuts never goes out of style. A chicken parm hero never goes out of style. And just capitalize on them. Just make it good.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's a good question.
So another thing that I just from note, I'm now kind of commenting on things that I've noticed, you know, throughout time. One of the times I was here filming for you guys, I noticed that you had one of your employees go and bring in some pizza from another pizzeria. And it wasn't to like just knock the other pizzeria, but it was like, okay, what are they doing? Like, not to even copy them. It's like, I want to know what the competition is out there, and I want to see like where if their pizzeria is better.
I don't me personally, I want everybody to see it. I want everybody to try it and be like, what did you guys like? What did you dislike? What can we take away from this? You know, and how can we, you know, not necessarily make it better than them, but, you know, just get an understanding of what's going on out there. So, like, you can't fall victim to the trap, like, I'm the best, I'm number one, nobody, you know, nobody's better than me. Because once you start feeling like that way, that's when a slippery slope occurs. I always say to everybody, like, it's better to be like number two, because you're always chasing after something.
Wow, that's interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting paradigm shift. You know, everybody's like, oh, I want to be the best, I want to be the best, I want to be the best.
A lot of
When you get to
people-
the best, like, what?
It's
It's
very
subjective,
hard.
but then
There's
what do you?
very few people like Tom Brady or Michael Jordan that want to win every year and have that burning desire to win every year. That's in me.
Sure.
You know, so I never look at it the perspective as like, oh, I have the best grandma pizza in the world. I have the best Roman style pizza. I make the best donuts. No, I don't. Even, you know, despite whoever says about us, some people love us, some people hate us. I take what the people say. I like to hear what people. I want to hear the bad things. I don't want to hear the good things, because the bad things are what motivate me to get better.
Yeah.
The good things just inflate your ego, and it's just like.
There's a quote that if you live by their compliments, you'll die by their criticism.
Yes.
So it's like if you kind of like let them both shout, you know, like
I think I'm the opposite.
yeah, live by the criticism. And yeah, it's true. That's actually a better way to live, because like in all reality, the criticism grows you, and the compliments, they really do kill you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's really interesting. Piggybacking on the thread of work environment, one of the things that I've noticed being in here is the environment that you have when a customer comes in. You treat everybody like family, and it's like that cliche of, oh, you know, when you hear your family kind of thing. But I've actually noticed that when like, oh, like, oh, the pizza's gonna take 10 minutes. Do you want an espresso kind of thing, or asking about how the kids' soccer game went last week, and like it's a little detail. So it's like, oh, this isn't just an exchange. It's actually like a community spot.
Yeah, for me, and also the way I was raised, I don't care if you're coming in here and you're spending $3.50, or you're coming in here and you're placing a $3,000 catering order. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care. I really don't care. That's how I am.
Yeah.
So I treat everybody the same, and I like to learn all walks of life. I feel like that's given me a broader perspective on things, And yeah, that's how we are here. That's how it's always been. And that's how, as long as we're here, that's how it always will be, because there's so much competition out there. There's so many other places. We don't do delivery. We don't do
that was
reads,
another thing that
no
I thought was really
DoorDash.
interesting.
Right, yeah, we don't do
Tell me a
any of
little
this
bit why. Which is so, for a Long Island pizzeria, or even the New York City pizzeria, that's so like anti-establishment. That's so different than all the other every pizzeria does delivery. So I thought that was really interesting when you mentioned that.
Listen, you want to increase your sales always. You want to do more business. Like, people like you guys are so dumb, you could do so much more business. Like, how do you know? If you start doing delivery, first of all, the quality of your product is compromised. Second of all, less people are going to come into your establishment. The place is going to look less full. Dude, we have, you see how big this place is. We're going to, eventually with the new dining room inside, we're going to have close to 500, 600 seats.
Yeah.
All right. So, you want people to come in. You want to feel that energy. You want to feel that vibe.
That's
you want it to
really
be an experience.
Yeah.
When you go pick up food or you go eat, how many times do you go, out to eat and you just, it's like a very dull, boring experience? Or you go pick up a salad and it's just like whatever, you're just a number to them.
Yeah.
You're not just a number to us.
What's really interesting too is, when the coming in as an experience, how much, all you have at your front, the pizza counter, all like bubbly, fun people. That's a really great selling point. But also too, seeing the actual products is a great selling point. When I call on the phone for a delivery, I don't see any of the product, so I can't eat with my eyes.
Right.
So you talk about doing more business. There could be an argument for saying you might do more business by not doing delivery, because I might only order a pie, or a couple. Nobody would really deliver slices, but like a pie or two, maybe two pies. You come in, you pick up your pie, but then you're like, oh, that slice looks really good.
On Wednesday we do the donuts, right? You come in, you pick up 2 slices of pizza. Next thing you know, they barely make them to the showcase anymore because people are pre-ordering.
Yeah.
You see a Nutella donut in the show. Yeah, this place makes Nutella donuts. One thing leads to another. The pizza was great. They have a nice dining room. We should go out to eat dinner one day.
Well, exactly.
One hand feeds the other here. You understand what I'm saying?
I wonder though, like if there's more of an opportunity for you to upsell though too, because like there's people are actually in the store, even if they're just doing a call-in pickup. How many times have I called in and picked up a place and be like, wow, all right, I'll get one of those too. You know what I'm saying?
I credit our staff, because you need to have the right staff
100%.
in order for that strategy to be successful.
100%.
You need to have the right people working for you. Otherwise, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, you could hire, I don't want to say robots, but you can hire people that aren't as bubbly and the customer service is fine, and you have a pizzeria that does delivery, and I'm sure you guys are going to do numbers. That's not our strategy here. That's not what we're about. Again, you're not just a check number to us. We value you as a person. We value you as a customer. We understand that, this business is, it's very hard. It's very competitive. So it also keeps you on top of your A game.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, man, so I really appreciate you taking the time. But
I had a good time.
This is a really interesting conversation.
Hopefully what I said made sense. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Sometimes my thoughts don't really come out as my word, like what I'm thinking, and what I say, I was like, wait a second, that's not how I meant it.
No, it was great, man.
Thank you.
But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Definitely, if you're in the area, in the Elmont area, definitely check out King Umberto's. You have to be in the area because they don't deliver. But
no, you could come from out of town. Come visit.
Exactly. Well, when you're in this area, come visit, come check out the spot.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. So thank you for the time.
Thank
you
you
for everybody that watched or listened, however the case may be. And we'll see you in the next video.
Yes, Jacob.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you.